Hey everybody, so I've been getting some people that have been asking how I make my acrylic coasters, my acrylic ink coasters, I should be more specific. So I'm just going to kind of do a quick, kind of quick step-by-step on how to do that. If you're first getting into resin, do know that you're going in this with you're going to become poor. Because the cost is pretty outstanding. I usually buy the gallon jugs of the epoxy pro marine set. It usually lasts me quite a while. You want to make sure that you get yourself some plastic cups, some craft stir sticks. So when you're doing this, and I always get gloves because it does get really, really messy. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you're portioning out equally your epoxy hardener and your tabletop epoxy. A lot of people like to kind of heat up their epoxy inside of warm water to just kind of get the bubbles out. Generally, it depends on the project that you're doing. So if you're doing something where you want to have a clearer effect, you want to make sure that when you're stirring this product together that you are doing it very slowly so you don't create as many bubbles. But with me, since I'm doing the acrylic inks in there, it's going to kind of cover up the bubbles if I do make some. But if you do make bubbles, then you can just get rid of it by using, I usually use a kitchen torch or just a regular lighter. So you're just going to make sure that you stir it for a while. It's recommended that you stir it to the point that it looks like it's coming out pretty clear. So you're probably going to do that for about just a couple minutes. But again, it also depends on the portion size and how much you're doing. Some people, if they're doing glitter or if they're doing colors, like adding colors inside of their resin, they also stir it pretty quickly. But we're all different. You don't need to be perfect. But if you're just starting out with resin, it's a learning experience. I know for me it was. It's been quite the little journey. But don't make, you're going to make some mistakes here and there, but hopefully you pick up on them pretty quickly because, just like I said, resin is very, very expensive. You want to make sure that you're using every single drop of your resin as well, and you'll start to figure that out. See, so you see how it's coming out just a little bit more clear, and yes, so there's all the bubbles and stuff that are coming up. But just like I said, I'm going to make sure that I put some heat on it, but I'm not too worried about the bubbles because the acrylic inks are going to just basically cover those up anyways. Do know that if you spill resin, it's very, very hard to get out of things. So I like to keep garbage bags over my tables. And again, I like to also wear gloves. Some people don't. Some people have gotten so good at it that they don't even worry about it. But me, I'm kind of one of those people where I don't generally like the stickiness of it. So you can find these coaster silicone molds on Amazon, Etsy, AliExpress. They're basically everywhere. Sometimes you can find really, really good deals where they come in a set. And I did that. I ended up getting a set that came in with four of these different ones, and It was for a really, really good deal. You can also find them on like wish.com too if you don't mind waiting for like a month for to get them. But sometimes it's really hard to find like specific silicone molds. Like if you're looking for very, very specific ones, like the coffin silicone molds and whatnot, like you definitely have to wait for about a month to get those from Japan. But it's usually worth it. So you're just gonna take your resin and you're just gonna slowly pour it in there. Wasn't that slow, but so usually if I have some left over but my thing's full, then I'll just use it for like a different project, because it depends on like the resin. Sometimes you have about 30 minutes to use it before it starts to harden itself, which is great. I mean, but this Pro Marine is basically like my favorite. So because I'm just doing this tutorial like pretty quickly, I'm not even going to worry about like the heat portion of things. I'm just going to get right to it. So if you're going for this acrylic ink effect, you need to use specific acrylic inks. You can't just use whatever acrylic inks that you want. This brand is literally like the only one that you can ask anybody that works with acrylic inks in resin, that this has been like a godsend. Your best friend is literally white, and I'm going to show you why. So since I want the rainbow effect, I'm basically going to use like all of the colors except for gold and black, and probably like the rainforest green. I think that I'll leave that out. So we'll stick to some of the simple ones. Okay, so you're basically, you could just have at it and start wherever you want to go with it. So I'm just going to put a few of the colors down. Okay, so here's where your white's coming in. Your white's going to be your best friend because it's going to take these colors and it's going to start to sink them down towards the bottom. If you don't use that, then your colors are literally going to stay up here towards the top, and it's awful. So you just want to use like a few drops here and there. And you kind of want to do this quickly. So see how it's starting to push. I seriously love doing this because I love, oh my gosh, I just love watching the transition of the colors, and then, you know, when they start to mix with one another, and it's kind of like this really awesome dance. And it never gets old. And the cool thing is like everything that I've ever done has always turned out differently, no matter the way that I do it. Like, and that's what I really like about it. With this though, you don't want to get like too crazy, because then sometimes your colors like it gets like a little overwhelming, and then some of the colors will not sync, or else you'll start to notice like your colors will start to stick like off to this side, and then it's just like one big hot mess. So I only do it like a couple rounds until I feel like, all right, I think all my colors are gonna do their thing and sink down there like in a good way. So that is what you do. It usually takes, I mean, with this, it did start solidifying very, very well within about 3 to 4 hours, but because I want it to have that firmer look and I don't want my edges to bend and stuff, I waited about 12 hours or more, so that way it's totally solidified and it's in a good firm place. Let's see, so that's the bottom effect, which is basically until all of this is done sinking, it's going to probably look about like this-ish, maybe. But yeah, that's the effect of acrylic inks. Isn't that so cool? And I'm telling you right now, like, you guys will get like super addicted to it. It's so much fun, and just like I said, every project turns out different and it looks different, but it always turns out super great. Just remember with resin, like, you have to be very patient with it. You want to make sure that you're in a good warm place. The resin just does not hold up very well in cold weather, and it takes so much longer for it to set itself up. Okay, so that is the gist of that lesson. I know it was pretty quick, but I'm also hoping to do a little bit more of these, so there could be some more guidance for those out there that are resin beginners, want to become resin beginners, or just want to watch the process for fun. So thanks for hanging out with me. Bye!